here's Brody Brazil.
If I'm being honest, I think it's equal parts sadness and surprise that I'm even making this video. I'm not somebody with stock in the Utah Hockey Club. I'm not going to lose any sleep over whatever their eventual permanent name and mascot and logo are going to be, but I was kind of set on Utah Yeti. It just felt right rolling off the tongue. And so many people in Utah and Salt Lake City, it felt like they were already all in on Utah Yeti. It was clearly the front runner. There was no official poll taken necessarily, but everybody seemed to like it. And now the Utah Hockey Club, behind the scenes, they went through the process of trying to get it approved. It got blocked by the United States Patent and Trademark Office. And the company Yeti, like Yeti Coolers, they didn't help out in this process. And so the Utah Hockey Club has had the name Yeti blocked from their options, which is not something I saw coming, honestly. KSL Television did this report from a couple weeks ago. They said earlier this month, here January of 2025, the trademark for Utah Yetis was refused by the United States Patent and Trademark Office due to a likelihood of confusion. Trademark Act Section 2D bars registration of an applied for mark that is so similar to a registered mark that it is likely consumers would be confused, mistaken, or deceived as to the commercial source of the goods and or services of the parties, a non-final action issued on January 9th said. Again, I think we're all familiar with the Yeti products, like the Yeti Cooler Company products. I certainly am. I've got tumblers, I've got ramblers, I've got coolers, I've got all their stuff. I love the Yeti product, and I was still kind of hoping that there wouldn't be that crossover, that collision of name and property here, and the Utah Hockey Club could also just kind of get in on this. And let me just show you something absolutely crazy here, because this does happen a lot of other times in life. Two totally different brands and products are using the same name, as in search Stanley Cup on Google, like I did earlier tonight. A drinkware product comes up, not the Stanley Cup. If you Google Stanley Cup, they want you to buy a Stanley mug or a thermos, or in this case, one of those very popular pink Stanley brand cups. This is not the first collision of hockey and drinkware, apparently, but in this case, drinkware wins out both ways. Drinkware gets to use the name Stanley Cup, and drinkware gets to use the name Yeti, and a hockey team from Salt Lake City cannot use that name. This is a report from ESPN. Mike Maugan represents the Smith Entertainment Group. Mike gives us this quote: "We engaged deeply with Yeti Cooler Company and worked with them over a process to see if there was some coexistence agreement that we could engage with them on. They have a unique and strong trademark on anything published Yeti or, I didn't know this, Yetis, plural. We did not have a coexistence agreement with Yeti and therefore have decided to move on from that name." So I don't know that this is officially the end of the story. Maybe there is some more back and forth. Maybe there is so much public outrage that the company Yeti turns around and says, maybe we'll reconsider this, but I don't know at this point. It seems like with the team backing off and backing away, it might be the end of the story. You may recall what the final 6 team name options were. Fans voted it down, I want to say from 20-something to 12 to ultimately these final 6. Could it be Utah Hockey Club, the Outlaws, the Venom, the Mammoth, the Blizzard? Well, not Yeti anymore. We've gone from a final 6 to now a final 3. And one has emerged that was not in the final 6, but now the Utah Wasatch are an option as the final 3. We'll get to how these final 3 will be decided on in just a second, but let me quickly evaluate if these are the ultimate finalists. Let's talk about all 3 of them. Number 1, Utah Hockey Club. Quite honestly, it was the temporary name. People have already been using it. It already feels maybe more familiar to them. I know there's no mascot associated with that, but they could add a mascot. The Utah Hockey Club and their mascot is the whatevers, and that could be part of the vernacular. But Utah Mammoth, right? That's an extinct species, I believe. So I think there's some drawback there. Certainly Hockey Club has the drawback of being generic to some. I like it. I think it stands out because it's totally different. There is no other NHL team that's just club with no proper named mascot going with it, right? It's not the city name, team name. It's just the Utah Hockey Club as one name. So it's actually unique. I know people here in North America are not used to that, but Mammoth are extinct. And the Utah Wasatch. Now, I know what the Wasatch Front is. I'm very familiar with the mountain range. I've done a lot of Utah-related videos. I know you're all so proud of me because I'm pronouncing it correctly. The Wasatch Front. Hello, Salt Lake City. I see you out there. But if you're not from Utah or Salt Lake City, and Wasatch is just a name that's, dare I say, playful, you could rearrange it and it's just, maybe it's not as complimentary. So I don't, and what's your mascot? More on this in just a second. They have some ideas because it's a new entry, but Utah Wasatch. As a broadcaster, I don't know how to feel about that one. And I would have to say it a lot. So how are they going to decide on these final three? The next 4 games. Actually, I'm recording this during one of these 4 games right now. So technically, by the time you're watching this, the next 3 games, Utah Hockey Club fans who attend any of the next 3, by the time you're watching this, home games will enjoy an exciting opportunity being able to participate in the next phase of a survey to vote on the team's permanent name. Remember, this is the permanent name of a team now narrowed down to 3, with one of the best options just floating away. Because this next round features not only names but also logos and branding treatments, only fans attending the next 3 Utah Hockey Club home games at Delta Center starting tonight, like as in while I'm recording this, will be able to participate. Now I imagine why they're saying the in-person part here. They might have everybody put away their phones, no cameras. We're going to show you all this. Decide on this in person. Here's not only the name, here's the colors we would go with, here's the logo, the branding, and then you can vote right here, right now. But no phones, no pictures, no photos. This is for your eyes only. It's like going to a concert, right? Put all your phones away, and then you can see the show. So I imagine that's what's going to happen here, and that's why they're doing it in person. But over the course of the next, now 3 games, and they only made this announcement hours before the 4th game. So if you wanted to be part and you were gone the next 3, you didn't have really an opportunity to get your voice and your vote in on this. The Wasatch, let's go back to that. Utah Hockey Club and Utah Mammoth were names included in the latest round of the top 6 names. We know that. I just showed you that, but this is coming from the team. Utah Wasatch is a new option created to honor the idea of a mythical snow creature with a Utah-centric approach inspired by the Wasatch Mountain Range. So we've got one name that has no mascot associated with it. It's just the Utah Hockey Club. We've got the Mammoth, which are extinct. And now we've got a mythical snow creature. I'm just saying, I don't know that we've charted a great path here to a final 3. I felt like it was going good. And Mammoth was a good contender, but Yeti was the front runner. And now Yeti is off the table. And again, I'm not somebody who's going to lose sleep over this, but even I'm frustrated by all how this has gone. Here are my takeaways. I can't even get the words out right. I'm that frustrated. I love Yeti, the brand. I love Yeti, the name. But this is crazy that they all couldn't work this out. And I get it. There could be some confusion if the Utah Yeti hockey team made a water bottle or a hat that said Yeti on it. And then somebody's like, oh, is that Yeti Cooler's new logo or look? And it's like, oh, no, this is the hockey team. But really, though, the Yeti Cooler brand is so defined. It's just the name Yeti, Y-E-T-I, maybe sometimes a rectangle surrounding the word. It's simple to understand what their logo is, how it's used, what their branding looks like. And you'd have to think that the hockey team would go a little 180 from that just on purpose, so that any of the imagery would instantly bring you to, is this the hockey team we're talking about or the drinkware brand? It's crazy that they couldn't speak the same language here and realize, all right, we're going to do this, you do that, we'll stay apart. We're both good? Okay. Or that the Yeti brand was so stuck on saying, no, we don't want anybody encroaching on what we're doing here. Like, they're set. They're very familiar. They are so popular right now. They are so trendy right now. Having a hockey team sharing your name is not going to hurt sales of Yeti coolers one bit. I promise you that. Confusion, really? I mean, there are some people that make questionable decisions out there, but we're all smart enough to understand the difference here. And again, I understand that there could be products that say Yeti on it that are similar products, stuff that the Yeti cooler brand would make and the Yeti hockey team would make, a t-shirt, a hat, but like one literally is trying to win hockey games. The other one is trying to keep your food and beverages cold. They do different things. This will always feel like a small disappointment to me because I can't unsee Yeti. I know it was a thing. I know it was an option. I know it was a choice. And when they went down the road of doing it the proper way, it's almost like they should have just done it and then asked for forgiveness later instead of permission. Getting forgiveness is way easier than permission. But this is always going to feel like a small disappointment. I guess maybe that wouldn't be the best route. They could have probably got sued for that. But you'll always know that this could have been the Yeti. I guess another name is Arizona Coyotes. Let's just call them that. So fan voting being the ultimate part of this decision, but is that really how it's going to go? They didn't make it clear to say that whoever the fans choose, whichever one of these names, that's the final name. They said the fan voting is part of making the final decision. And of course, you know Ryan Smith, his background with Qualtrics, the company that he and his family started and sold. They're all in this business of research and polling, and this is what Qualtrics is. This is what they do. They try and gauge people's interest and their voting preferences. And so Qualtrics will be part of this, but I still don't know if the fans are making the ultimate choice or if the fans are going to have input and influence, and then somebody else obviously is going to make the final choice. If it's up to me, honestly, at this point, if you can't have Yeti, I would just stick with Utah Hockey Club. I know, sounds crazy to some of you. Utah Hockey Club, and then they could have a mascot of a Yeti-like creature. Maybe the mascot is named Yeti the something. Yeti the Yelper. I don't know. That was really stupid. I should have spent some more time on that. But the point is here, of the other two names, I don't know if they're going to fly well. Utah Hockey Club works enough. Maybe you just delay this. Do you do a temporary name for 2 years? This is rough. This is not what I expected. Again, I'm a little surprised by this. I did not see this coming, and I'm a little bit saddened by this because even with no real connection to this hockey team, I was kind of excited for that potential name. That's the end of this video. Thumbs up down below greatly helps me, this video, and this channel. And one more thing, make sure you are already subscribed. That way I can see you back here for the next banger.